So we have learned about all of these shapes and now it's time to use them and create something. I have some icons here that I created using the shape tools, and in this video we will be creating some of these. Let's start with the file icon. Create a rectangle with a line segment placed slanted over its top left corner. Select the line segment and navigate through the object menu. Then go to Path and click on Divide Objects below. This will divide the rectangle and give us two separate objects. Now select the corner and rotate it 180 degrees. For the final step, just place few line segments to represent the text. Now let's add some color to complete the icon. To get this offset effect, I have applied a transform filter to the fill and move it horizontally and vertically by 1 pixel. The next icon is the gear icon, which can be made using the star shape. So let's start with a star shape with decent number of points. Add some radius to the corners and change the corner type to chamfer to get a gear shape. To punch a hole on it, just create a circle and align it with the gear shape. Now select both the objects, right click and click on Make Compound Path. The next icon we are going to create is the mouse icon. Start with a rounded rectangle with its bottom corners rounded to their limits. For the mouse buttons, place a line segment just a little over its center point. Now select this anchor point and press Ctrl C to copy all the segments that are connected to it. Now press Ctrl V to paste and place it like this to create the left and right mouse buttons and the wire. The wire looks a little bit longer to me, so let's move these points and make it a bit shorter. For the mouse wheel, use a thicker line segment and place it here to complete the icon. Fourth, we have the avatar icon. To create this one, start with the circle shape, then select these two anchor points and move them down a little. Now right click and select Reflect from the flyout menu. In the Reflect dialog, use the horizontal axis and click on Copy to create the copy of the selection. Now we have the face of the avatar. Let's reduce its size and move it down a bit to align it better with the other object. Now create a rounded rectangle for the neck and merge it with the face. Use another rounded rectangle for the avatar's body and delete the unneeded anchor points. One last thing to do is to move this anchor point down a little bit. Now add some colors to it, and here we have the avatar icon. The last icon we are going to create is the wrench. Start with the polygon shape and convert all of its anchor points to smooth. Now take a rectangle and smooth its bottom points. Select both the objects and use the second pathfinder method to cut the polygon. For the handle, create another rounded rectangle and merge it with the wrench's mouth. Now let's add some color to finish off the icon. Pencil tool is a pretty decent tool with a lot of handy options. It is a freehand tool that we can use with some key combinations to change its drawing behavior. Like normally, it draws like how a freehand tool should be drawing. But if we hold down the Alt key, we can draw straight lines. Holding down the Shift key gives us constrained line segments. Now let's take a look at the tool options. First, we have the fidelity slider that determines how accurate or smooth our pencil strokes are going to be. As the name suggests, accurate gives us more accurate and detailed drawings with lots of anchor points but no smoothness. On the other hand, keeping it all smooth gives us a smooth path with less anchor points and least accuracy. I keep it in the middle to maintain the balance between these two. Fill new pencil strokes option fills the new pencil strokes with current fill color. Keep selected option keeps the strokes selected after we draw them. This option enables or disables the smooth tool toggle. After turning this option on, we can use the Alt key to invoke the smooth tool. This option closes the path if its two endpoints fall within the range we specify here. This one lets us edit any selected path or object that comes within the specified range. So these are some options that we can use to tweak the behavior of the pencil tool. Many people use pencil tool just as a drawing tool, but pencil tool can also be used as a reshaping and merging tool. Let's start with reshaping an object. To reshape an object, move the pencil towards the object and wait until the asterisk goes away. No asterisk means that we are close enough to the object to make any adjustments to it. Start close to the shape and always come back to it. Now let go of the mouse button to complete the reshaping process. Now you have to remember one thing while reshaping the objects. Do not end up away from the object. Don't do this, or else you will get the results you don't want. Always start close enough to the object, then go wherever you want, but always come back to the object. How close we have to start or end depends on the value we have entered here. Sometimes it doesn't work as expected, and failing so many times might frustrate you. So I'm going to tell you why it happens and how to avoid it. If we look at these two segments, we will find that they are kind of facing the same direction, and that's what's causing this problem. This segment should be going the opposite way. We can fix this problem by redrawing this end with the pencil tool. And now everything looks good. Similarly, we can reshape almost any object, including the brush strokes and even the groups. Now let's talk about merging with the pencil tool. Merging with pencil tool is very easy. To merge the objects, we first have to select them. Then draw a path with the pencil tool that is fairly close to both the objects, close enough to be in the editing threshold. Now do the same thing on the other side, and here we have it. Unlike many merging tools, pencil tool gives us more freedom during the merging process, and we can get a different result every time with the same objects. So that's how we reshape and merge the objects with the pencil tool. The Shaper tool is one of the many tools that can handle more than one job for us. Through this tool, we can draw basic geometric shape in no time. All we have to do is scribble any shape we want. Illustrator will recognize the freehand gesture and convert it into a perfect geometric shape. Scribbling over an object removes it from the document. But if we scribble over the fill of the object, it only removes the fill color. We can also add or subtract the overlapping and non-overlapping areas just by scribbling over them, and it is completely non-destructive. Whenever we perform these operations on the objects, Shaper tool creates a shaper group out of them. We can open a shaper group by clicking on this arrow widget and work separately with each element of a group. Click on this widget one more time to close the group. Every shape we have drawn with the Shaper tool has a light gray color by default. To change their color, just click on an area or face to select it. This mode is also called the face selection mode. Now you can pick any color you want for the selected area or face. If the areas you are dealing with are of different colors, then in the case of merging, the color of the resulting area will inherit the color of the region the scribble was originated from. We can also merge two or more shaper groups together. Just select the groups you want to merge and click on the Merge Shaper Groups button. To remove an object from a shaper group, click on the arrow widget to open the group and drag the object out of the group. Now it is no longer the part of this group. This button expands the shaper groups into simple path objects. There is one thing about the Shaper tool that many people find really confusing, which is the gaps. A gap is the space between the borders of the two objects or the two open points. To demonstrate the working of the gaps, I have made a shaper group which contains a box and a circle. Let's select the shaper group and click on this button to open up the gap options. Now the information in this dialog clearly says that this dialog sets the gap detection options for the selected live paint groups. But trust me, we can also use this dialog for the shaper groups. Alright, let's turn on the gap detection for the selected group. This drop down has 3 presets for the gap size. We can either use one of them or we can just enter a custom value. Let's crank the size up a little and see if we get any gaps for this group. Now as you can see that 4 gaps have been detected on this group and they are dividing the box into 4 equal areas. Let's click OK to apply the current gap detection settings. Now if we scribble over the box, only the area we scribble on is going to get subtracted. Notice that we have some part of the border missing here. This is because the gaps do not have any stroke color. Now the problem is that we cannot just go ahead and select them and give them a stroke color just like we do with the normal objects. Because these gaps are not like normal vector objects. It might look like that they are there. But if we take a look into the layers panel, we have only 2 objects under our shaper group. So we can say that they are just some ghost objects that can't be selected and hence can't be modified. This problem can be fixed by inserting the paths in place of the gaps. In order to do that, just go to Gap Options dialog and click on Close Gaps with Paths button. As soon as we click, we get this warning pop-up saying that the currently detected gaps will be closed by placing the paths, and the gap detection will be turned off for this group. Click Yes to continue. Now let's assign a stroke color to the paths and fix the object. And now everything is working just fine. So this is how we use the gaps along with the shaper tool. One last thing I want to tell you about this tool is rather strange than informative. Now notice carefully. If I scribble over the fill of an object, the fill goes away, which is normal. But if the scribble makes contact only with the outline of the object gets converted into a live paint group. Now this is strange, because the live paint bucket tool is supposed to create the live paint groups, not the shaper tool. So if this ever happens to you, just go one step backwards and then try again.